Space Force #1, written by Chuck Dixon, art by Timonthy Lim, published by Antarctic Press. So this is one of those political satire comics, very much in the vein of this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Freshman Force comic that came out a few weeks ago, which I did a video on. Check that out if you're interested in, link in the description. So this is a political satire comic. Now, Chuck Dixon is a name I recognize. He was a big writer in the 90s and early 2000s. He worked a lot on Batman, as well as Robin, Nightwing, Punisher. But yeah, he was a big Batman writer, and he even co-created the character Bane. So it's kind of interesting to see a writer I recognize on one of these parody books, which are usually written by fairly unknown writers. Now, apparently, Chuck Dixon is a very big conservative, and this is a pro-Trump comic. A lot of people are calling it the comic for the Comicsgate crowd. So, you're going to see a lot of pro-Trump stuff in this book. Now, I'm pretty pro-liberal, but, we'll have to see how I feel about this book as we get into it, But I'm going to be as objective as I can. Now, the Space Force. What is the Space Force if you're not following American politics? So Trump announced a long time ago that the U.S. military was going to sort of start a new branch of the military called the Space Force. And when the press and news media heard of this concept, a lot of people were joking that Trump wants to create Star Wars. He wants to make Halo a real life thing for the US military. And we're making fun of him. Now, a Space Force is not entirely without merit. If America and Russia and China were all going to go to war, the Chinese and Russians, they apparently have some sort of Space Force or something. And it's important because they could wipe out a whole bunch of the satellites, all of a sudden ruin the communication networks, as well as missiles often need a lot of area in space to sort of work. So, you kind of do need a Space Force to sort of defend yourself. But in a world where America spends 54% of their federal discretionary spending on the military, total of over $600 billion, do you really need to put more money into the military and take it away from social programs? So that's sort of the argument here. But let's not get so caught into the weeds. Let's talk about Trump Space Force, a book where Donald Trump starts a Space Force and has to save the galaxy. Let's dive into the story, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go through it. So as our book opens up, Trump announces the creation of a Space Force. And then we jump over to various liberals making fun of this Space Force, and we see Chuck Schumer, and he's meeting with various aides, and they're saying oh, isn't this whole thing ridiculous? And then Chuck sort of ushers them out of the room, and then Chuck Schumer is secretly working for the aliens and communicates with them and says, "We have a problem." So, all liberals in this comic, as you're going to see, are secretly aliens working for the aliens, and they're trying to destroy America. Okay, so there's this alien called Oan, and he astral projects himself into Trump's bedroom in the White House, and he refers to Trump as God Emperor Trump, which if you follow alt-right memes, they love referring to Trump as their God Emperor. So anyway, there's Oan. He's part of the Celestial Peacekeeping Coalition, and he warns Trump about a species of alien called the Sienn'en, who are coming to Earth to destroy it. And in order to aid Trump in the US, he gives Trump data that will give Earth all the technology they need to defend themselves, such as faster travel, quantum computing, etc. We jump over to the Pentagon, and they are discussing some options and new technologies that they can use to sort of fight the aliens. We see Jim Mattis in the room, who has now resigned in real life. We also see Newt Gingrich in the room, who has developed all sorts of gadgets. For those of you who don't know Newt Gingrich, he's a big player in the Republican community, and I honestly hate seeing Newt Gingrich as the hero of this book. Anyway, we jump over and we see Nancy Pelosi in Congress. And she doesn't like the idea of the Space Force. She thinks the money would be better spent on schools and roads. What a ridiculous idea, Nancy. And she wants to seek impeachment over this Space Force thing for Trump. But why does she want to do this? Because she's secretly an alien in disguise, and she all of a sudden turns into her alien form. And we also see various other liberals in the media turning into aliens as well. Rachel Maddow from MSNBC turns into an alien, as well as we see these young Turks. They're like this YouTube channel, but they're called the Young Turds here, and they're turning into aliens. Yeah. One successful joke I liked in this book is that, everyone's turning into aliens, and then we see Alex Jones, who is a known conspiracy theorist, and he's often wrong about everything, but here he says, like, "I told you so, it's in the water. I warned you about the frog, see, it's happening." So that was pretty funny, because, Alex Jones, one of his big conspiracy theories is that, the water's turning frogs gay or something, so it was kind of funny to see that here. Jumping back over to space, Trump and Newt Gingrich, they're on this spaceship. They're sort of preparing to, fight these aliens. We see Sebastian Gorka, and he's another, Republican political operative who's also an asshole in real life. But, he's the hero of this story. And, one thing a little funny, I like that Trump and Gorka, they do, a Predator handshake. So, from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So that made me laugh, I guess.
Dylan! You son of a bitch. What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
So then there are various scenes and pages of everyone getting ready on this ship. And we're seeing various other, Republican politicians in here. We have Donald Trump Jr. at one point making an appearance, as well as various other people. And, these pages sort of go by with, for quite a while, of just various scenes of preparation. Most of them kind of were a blur to me. Didn't find them that particularly intriguing, but finally we're sort of getting more towards the heat of this, battle with these aliens. One of the aliens, of course, looks like Hillary Clinton. And so they're fighting these aliens. They're finally confronting these aliens in space with all their new weapons. And Trump deploys some sort of wall weapon because, get it? Trump loves walls, of course, and somehow this wall is going to help hold off these aliens in space. Trump's ship transforms, Transformers style, into the Statue of Liberty, sort of like Megatron, but they're calling it Magatron. Get it? Make America Great Again, Magatron. And this Magatron kills and destroys the aliens, and Trump and team win, and they have saved the galaxy. Back on Earth, we see Trump at the White House. By the way, Trump is drawn ridiculously fit and skinny throughout this entire book, which we know Trump has a little bit of a belly on him, so it's interesting that they're really trying to draw him as the hero of this book. And Trump awards medals to Gorka and Newt Gingrich, and that is sort of the end of the story. So overall, I did not really love this book. I mean, as a liberal, why would I like this book? This book is not written for me. This book is written for people that love Fox News, they love Trump, and they're into all of that whole world there, that whole bubble they live in. But, as a liberal who hates most of these fucking people, I have a hard time looking at Sebastian Gorka, Newt Gingrich, and Trump as some sort of hero that this book is trying to paint them as. So I just couldn't get over that stuff. I also thought, going into it, that maybe Chuck Dixon would do some more nuanced political, social commentary of, conservatives over liberals and why liberals are stupid, and see what kind of points he would really make. But I don't think he really did anything that smart with that. He made all the liberals in this comic grotesque space aliens, and that was sort of the extent of his biting social commentary on liberals. So I don't think he really hit the mark there. But, this is not really a smart book. This is sort of like a dumb, fun action-adventure book. So, it's not too bad in that regard. If you are pro-Trump and you're pro-conservative, you'll probably like this. If you're a liberal like me, you might have a hard time really getting into it. I'm going to give this book a 5.5 out of 10. If you are, one of these alt-right Comicscape people, you're probably going to give this like an 8 or 9 out of 10. But yeah, 5.5 for me out of 10.